Good day everyone, and welcome to the channel. It's Londononion here with a cleaner revisit. We had recently covered a role-based deck build for Heng. Since our last updates, however, there are some significant changes worth considering to his build. First, we will take a brief recap of the deck build we suggested before the updates, then explore our changes and why. In addition to modifying his deck build, we will also explore where he presently falls on our modified spectrum, or matrix of roles, though it is the card selections that can modify his strategic range. For those that weren't present, I would say that there are three main categories cleaners tend to fall into: offense, defense, and support, as well as the subcategories in between. For Heng, he was categorized as a hardcore supportive cleaner. Taking a look at his new skill set, Heng has the unique ability of restoring an additional trauma unit when consuming food items, and also gains the effects of said food items regardless of who consumes them. He has an alternative perk of increasing the amount of food that spawns, and he has a team effect of increasing overall health and stamina by 1 unit for each food item consumed. Now, in regards to his deck, we originally had Food Scavenger, Magician's Apprentice, Pinata, Pyro, Out with a Bang, Offensive Scavenger, Defensive Maneuver, True Grit, Admin Reload, Highwayman, Film Full of Lead, Suppressing Fire, Shredder, Tactical Vest, and Ammo Belt. Now, the main basis for revisiting Heng's build is his complete change in core skills, and by extension, his meta. Naturally, his past deck build will now be modified to fit his role. Looking at our spectrum, I would classify Heng's food-based restoration and compounding effects of team consumption as a supportive perk, his added food spawns a supportive perk, and his team effect of added health and stamina for each food consumed as an overall supportive perk. Now, due to the varying effects of food items, this keeps Heng in the hardcore supportive designation. However, it is important to state that he is supportive, but with a restorative and somewhat offensive edge. Now, taking a raw look at Heng's core skills, there is really only one card that directly synergizes with them. But with that said, this is not to say that providing food and some restoration is the extent of his meta. Looking a bit deeper, I would argue that Heng is a cleaner of accumulated and compounding small effects to boost his overall prowess. Whether he or his team consume peaches, peanut butter, turtle O's, power bars, or green beans, he will excel in health maintenance / restoration, increased accuracy, increased melee stamina efficiency, increased melee speed, reload speed, and swap speed until the end of the level. And since it does not matter who consumes said food, Heng will still benefit. Consequently, in this onion's opinion, this not only creates a pattern of making small compounding increases in various aspects, but also being able to accrue said bonuses through his team. And this framework is what will influence the relevant card selections. So starting off with his card selections, our first card will be, naturally, Food Scavenger, which allows the card holder to sense nearby food items, adds a moderate amount of food items to each map, and causes food items to restore an additional 3 health units. Next, Money Grubbers allows the holder to gain an additional 3 copper when you or your team loot copper, and this effect can compound 25 times. Synergizing with this, Copper Scavenger increases the frequency of copper spawns and allows one to sense nearby copper piles. Following, I employ Front Sight Focus, which increases accuracy by 20%, weak spot damage by 10%, and aim speed and recoil control by 15% each. Next, Cold Brew Coffee increases reload speed by 15%, aim speed, weapon swap speed, and use speed by 25% each. Energy Drink increases stamina by 15%, weapon swap speed by 25%, move speed while firing by 15%, and slow resistance by 10%. Cross-trainers increase his stamina and its regeneration by 20%, move speed by 3% and health by 5 units. High Vis Sights, based on our last update, increases aim speed by 30% and move speed during ADS and while firing by 15% each. Shooting Gloves increases weapon swap speed by 25% and recoil control and accuracy by 15% each. Line 'em Up increases effective bullet range by 10%, recoil control by 15%, bullet penetration and aim speed by 25%. Vanguard restores 1 health unit to the user and their teammates within 10 meters upon a melee kill. Battle Lust grants 1 health unit and 0.125 trauma units following a melee kill. Confident Killer increases damage by 1% each time a mutation is eliminated by the holder or their team, and this compounds up to 15 times and lasts for the duration of a given level. Bounty Hunter grants 10 copper when you or your team eliminate a mutation and caps at 300 extra copper per level. Lastly, Life Insurance grants 2 extra lives and has a team effect of 10% reduced in-cap trauma. Overall, Heng's accuracy will increase by a grand total of 35%, aim speed will increase by a grand total of 95%, recoil control by 45%, weapon swap speed by 75%, stamina by 35%, and move speed while firing by 30%. Now, the rationale behind this build is to not only compound on Heng's core abilities, but expand in the meta. He is mainly based around food, which grants a series of small bonuses to enhance his combat and survivability. In regards to the card selections, I went with choices that had a similar framework of boosting a series of, if not all, gameplay attributes. It is noteworthy that I did not build Heng with a particular weapon loadout, but that is because his deck build essentially turns him into the jack of all trades on the cleaner team. Heng can theoretically pick up any weapon and have card attributes that would contribute to a satisfactory use at the very least. Snipers, for example, benefit from having quick aim speed when using one of the higher zoom scopes. LMGs benefit from higher reload speed and move speed. Shotguns can also benefit from reload speed, but I would also argue accuracy is more significant. Assault rifles and SMGs take some benefit from virtually every category, as they are closest to being well-balanced weapons. This would include effective range, recoil control, and bullet penetration. Lastly, swap speed and stamina works for everything, including melee weapons. Faster swap speed means smoother preparation for using melee weapons in the face of emergencies. To top all of this off, food items will only enhance the current card effects with some alternative enhancements that are not present on this list. With that said, we can transition to his tactical implications. Now, in our previous build of Heng, we had him designated as the Alpha or potentially the Major. Though he has had a complete change in his core skills, there aren't many significant changes or retractions I would make from my previous statements. Considering, however, that I would classify him as the Jack of all trades, this does change the logic and one of the recommended positions. I would still say Heng is best fit as an Alpha due to his skill set allowing him to pick up virtually any weapon and make some use of it. The Alpha is intended to be the chief navigator of a given team while also having a decent set of skills as a first response to threats. With the aforementioned build, I would say Heng is best fitted with any primary weapon of choice and a melee weapon for a secondary. Depending on the demands of a given level, Heng could theoretically switch up his loadout to a more appropriate primary depending on the demands of a given level. With the extra copper he should be accumulating, switching up attachments between weapons may not be too burdensome. Additionally, with the help of his melee weapon and the accumulated effects of food items, his prowess in a crowd can only go up. As Alpha, Heng is also at the greatest risk of running into hazards and receiving damage. Life insurance, with the addition of an effective team medic, should suffice in his survival. The only other alternative position I would recommend for Heng would be the Omega position. The Omega acts as a team's anchor and rear protection. The Omega is ultimately intended to stop whatever threat may have breached main defenses, or act as substitute to an alternative role. If the rest fall, the Omega does not. The idea behind this being that Heng will naturally become more combat effective as he or his team consume the plethora of food that will be available. As the Omega, he would be dealing with a minority of threats, but should the time come to be active or keep the team grounded, he will have the prowess to do so. Additionally, he can equip himself for said role with ideally harder hitting / more ammo heavy weapons. And after extensive testing with this build, I can conclude that it is a build I like to use while playing on higher difficulties. Metaphorically speaking, I would say new Heng can be likened to Kirby from Nintendo with any game / show for reference, Mega Man from any past installment, or dare I say, the Omnidroid series from Pixar's The Incredibles. Each one being a generalist or jack of all trades but master of none, but apparently they are oftentimes better than a master of one. However, this brings us to the end of our revisit to Heng until another update should change his meta. Thank you guys for joining me on this one, and in our videos moving forward, I'll be exploring the application of roles mixed with theoretical ideals of team composition depending on acts and or levels. Otherwise, as new updates come in, we may have more revisits in the future. It's been Londononion, and I will see you guys next time.